Welcome again. A oczywiście rozmowę z tymi fantastycznymi panami poprowadzi Dawid Muszyński. Poznaliście go już, to ten święty Mikołaj od prezentów. I will leave you gentlemen here at the stage. Have a lovely conversation with David.
There you go.
Oh, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Can I? And we're on. All right, guys. Please sit down.
Hello.
Okay, guys, I know that you have plenty of stories from Hobbit, from Lord of the Rings. But first, I want to ask you how it all began for you. How did you land in Peter Jackson's super-sized movie that was going longer and longer every time?
Well, Adam's story is more interesting than mine. I just went up for a small part in a big film in New Zealand, and then ended up playing a small character that was a big part in a very big film in New Zealand.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I went up actually for the role of Bilbo Baggins. It would have been a very different movie if I was Bilbo. And it was when Martin wasn't being released from Sherlock. The BBC wanted to keep him, so they looked for actors under a certain height. And I fitted that brief. And then I went up for my audition, and I was all quite excited and new to it all, really. And it was a big audition for me. And I came away thinking, oh, well, I did okay, that was all right. And then maybe 6 weeks later, I got a phone call saying, Adam, you're not Bilbo. You're definitely not Bilbo. But we'd love to consider you for the role of one of the dwarves. And I had read the book years and years ago, but I didn't realise the dwarves were quite so big in the movie. So yeah, and then another 6 or 7 weeks went past and they said, Adam, we'd love you to play Ori, just from your audition. So yeah, it just, that's how I got the job.
But I can imagine that before you were introduced to Hobbit, you know how big this franchise is because this gentleman and his fellow friends that were doing this before you. So I'm curious, what was your reaction when they said, okay, there is an audition, don't freak out, it's for a Hobbit movie. So what was your first reaction? Like, okay, I'm going, or damn, it will be big, it will be lots of work, the makeup, the stuff, I don't know if I can do it.
What he did, of course, was say, if John Rhys Davies can do it, anyone can do it.
Well, at the time when my agent gave me the call, they said, Adam, I've got an audition for The Hobbit for you. And at the time I was doing lots and lots of theatre, travelling around to different venues, and I just assumed it was a play. I assumed it was going to be The Hobbit the play, and I'd be touring in venues all over the UK. And they were like, no, it's Peter Jackson's Hobbit, so make sure you go. But yeah, there's a pressure there because you knew the legacy that we had to keep going with. But yeah.
And this movie was growing because first they said, oh, maybe it will be 2 movies. Then they said, let's make a trilogy out of it.
Yeah, well, at the time it was just 2. On set, I found out it was 3. By Ian McKellen actually going, darling, you do know it's now 3. I was like, what?
And Peter Jackson is one of those directors that can adapt to anything that happens on the set. If there is a big flood somewhere, he will squeeze the harmonogram of the shoots, find something else to do. He's not wasting any time, isn't it, like John? I know that you have a story with that.
A great director has to be a master of everything. Those of you that want to be directors one day must know everything. You must know about cameras and lighting. You must know about history. You must know about costume. You must know how to handle people. Crews are easy. Actors are bitches. And Peter Jackson has the full palette that a great artist needs. But at the core of it, it's a very dull thing called organization. And that's what destroys great productions. If you get behind in a big production, you just lose a week and you don't make your day every day, you will dig a hole and you will never get out of it. That was the real test for me. So when we found ourselves in Christchurch, the middle of Christchurch, all the actors billeted in the hotels there, the production office, 3 kilometers away. Now, the rain comes down. It takes out not only the hillside and 11 houses, but it takes out the road between the production office and the center of town. Now it's a 17-mile trip on a single-track road to get from one to the other. The rain kept coming down. It was the first time that I have ever got into an hotel by stepladder onto the first floor because the ground floor was completely flooded. That was the day when the call sheet went out. There will be no filming today because the lake is underwater. We did not work that day, but the next day we moved 200 crew, 14 members of the cast, 80 horses, and all the other apparatus to another part of New Zealand and picked up a different part of the film and continued the day after. The logistical challenge of that is the biggest challenge any director can have. And when I saw that, I was completely convinced that Peter Jackson is one of the very, very great directors of our time. He is everything that a great director needs.
Adam, can you top this story? No, I'm curious because you both have the same thing that you have to do on the set. Many, many hours of sitting down, putting the makeup on you, the beard and stuff.